Do you really want to save everyone, Colonel? Or do you just want to appease your own narrow definition of justice? You should know that if you don't want something like this to happen again, we both have to get blood on our hands.
Aether Gazer! Get blood on my hands. Headlights? I've taught you better tricks for interrogation. Or perhaps they're just too scary for a kid.
Shut up, old fart. One last time. Why are you working with Korg?
That recorder in your pocket. Where'd you get it? A history museum? Take that out. What's the big idea? Snitch the dialogue to the others in the guild? So they can turn it aside like a joke?
You old fool. I'll let you keep your filthy secret with you for a little longer. But listen well. You are currently inside the number 8 restricted area of Rostok's container zone.
What? Who told you to come here? Get your men out of here now!
So you do know what's inside the restricted area? Don't worry. I had my team do some cleaning work here. Now it's your private prison cell. After I seized this place from Korg, I found that the soil around here was heavily contaminated, and bones were buried everywhere. How many restricted areas do they have like this in Rostok? What's Korg's business here?
I don't know.
I have ways of making you talk!
Having the answers won't do you any good. You'll understand when the time comes.
Stop palming me off like a child! Doesn't matter. Sooner or later, I'll become the Akkadian Guild leader, and Korg's shackles will bind us no more. Those who stand in my way have only themselves to blame.
Good thing I didn't teach you how to do a proper body search, boy. What happens between me and my son is none of her business.
Here we are. Egregious crimes or the Akkadian Guild? This is a restricted area to them both for sure.
I'll assume full responsibility.
I didn't mean that. I can see that you want to find out how your dad died. But why do you care about the truth behind the ruckus in Rostok? Out of pure sense of justice?
Is it wrong to do what you believe is right?
Not at all. It's just... Doesn't the training manual say that obedience comes first? At our induction, the director said that what we should do is not the same as what's right to do, and that we need to leave the problem for the bosses to decide.
I know. I was told the same thing. There are some cases of right and wrong where you don't need anyone else to decide for you. No matter how hard or complicated they seem, right is right, and wrong is wrong. It's as simple as that.
Anubis.
That's what my father used to tell me. The manhunt starts now. My deduction was correct. Finished.
I'm counting on you. That's right.
Target eliminated.
Anubis, those monsters we just saw, are they Vispanes?
They fit the description, so yes. There's also residual Bane energy in the soil.
What happened here exactly?
Hey, wait up! I don't want to get lost again!
Next time you take a whiz, find somewhere close around. No one's gonna come back for you again. You went outside the safe zone Kingu told us about. Count yourself lucky you came back at all.
So the rumors are true? There's monsters in the restricted zone?
You won't want to find it out yourself.
That safe zone they just mentioned.
If they were going to lock someone up at this place, they'd pick somewhere clear of Vispanes. That must be it.
Let's follow them.
Target found. I'll light it up. Set the map.
It's your end. I can finish them. Let's go. Boop boop.
Meow meow.
Don't worry.
Come get me,
It's over.
Don't blink. Meow.
Boop boop. Tear them apart. Problem solved. All's fine now. It's your end.
Target found. I'll light it up.
I can finish them. Let's go. It's your end. Finished.
Bastet?
Boss? I'm so glad you're okay!
Why are you here? And who is this boy?
What's going on?
Surrender yourselves.
Long story. We have to leave now, or they'll find us very soon.
None will escape.
You sure don't fight like a bounty hunter, kid. Who are you? And your weapon? Are you with the Egregious Crimes Department?
It's a long story, boss.
And don't get me started, Bastet. This kid might be bad at cover-ups, but that ops equipment of yours tells me you're not even trying.
Oh, did I give myself away?
I followed every word that woman gave me. And Aether Gazer is still sticking her nose in Rostak affairs?
No, we didn't rescue you because the director told us to.
You?
You and my father fought together.
Boss, you used to be in the Egregious Crimes Department too, right?
Your father's name?
Jackal. I inherited the code name.
He did tell me about an adopted son. Didn't know his son joined Korg as well, though. Anubis, right?
Huh. I want to know how my father died.
What did Korg say about it?
They say he died on duty while handling a smuggling case and offered me some compensation.
And you don't believe them?
I looked through the organization's shelved archives and found that the files on my father and his team were modified. Yours, however, had been wiped clean entirely. You showed up in Rostak only 16 years ago. The same year my father died in the line of duty. The mission briefings and outcomes have been completely erased. No record of where the mission was and who was involved in it. Not long after, Rostak saw a group of people experiencing a particular form of memory disorder. They all talked about a disaster that never happened and that nobody remembered. In that same year, Korg began its harsh lockdown of Rostak, cutting the city off from its development. Korg's direct involvement and divergent memories. Isn't that exactly how we do with certain situations?
You mean...
That chemical plant explosion which caused global contamination. It was actually an enormous quake in Rostak, wasn't it?
But that was more than 10 years ago. Only 3 years have passed since the first recorded quake.
Korg is responsible for recording quakes. If they wanted to cover it up... 2 years after, the Akkadian Guild was established, and a foreign Marduk began to adopt children orphaned by the disaster. He fought for a better life for his new neighbors, and helped those with memory afflictions. He soon won over the hearts and minds of the Rostak residents, and became their leader.
Enough. I have more than sufficient fancy excuses for hiding the truth from others. But I can't keep Jackal's son in the dark. You have the right to know how your father died. 16 years ago, I was head of egregious crimes. We weren't managed by a schemer like Aether Gazer back then, and even I would often go out on missions with my team.
Gotta say, you look nothing like a director, boss.
That day, we received an urgent top-secret mission. The Council wanted me to personally lead a team to Rostak and provide security for some mysterious scientific experiment. I picked a team of people I could trust. One of them was your father, Jackal.
What was the experiment?
They'd built a great tower in Rostak. At first, the residents here, us included, assumed that it was for the future of the city. And then came the quake.
Hold up. Boss, are you saying the experiment was the cause of the quake? But aren't quakes accidental? We can barely predict them.
Quakes had killed people before, and Core got them recorded on their internal report. Why was my father's covered up? Also, Rostak is not the only place that saw a quake. Why then has Core been keeping a vigilant eye here only?
You're smart, kid. Just like Jackal. And you decide to get to the bottom of something, even if you sense only a whiff of it. He died in that quake, and the rest of the security team was killed by the Visbanes. Except me. But the quake itself wasn't an act of God. It was man-made.
Man-made? So someone out there knows how to control quakes?
I won't call it control, and Korg had no reason to start a quake. However, the experiment was the direct cause of that quake. Aether Gazer told me so herself.
The director?
Aether Gazer was the chief architect of Project Grey Tower. Rostak was scarred by rifts and cracks, and it's hard to say if there ever existed a line between the surface layer and source layer. The Visbanes, they just kept coming and slaughtering everything in their wake. Rostak was a sea of flame. I wanted an explanation. I was getting myself into trouble, yes, but I didn't care. I burst into the experiment control room and saw that woman, Aether Gazer.
Where's the head scientist? Get your ass in here!
Keep it down, if you would. We cannot afford to stop the experiment until we finish collecting the last batch of data.
To hell with this goddamn experiment! Anyone can see it's luring the monsters here! Shut it down, or they're gonna kill all my people!
The Divine Grace signal coming off your gun. An access key. No wonder you managed to get in here. With that outrageous power you have now.
Shut up, you maniac! I'm standing here because it's my brothers who are getting slaughtered out there!
Have you asked yourself the question, Colonel? Why are you able to kill those monsters so easily while your men are dying?
What are you getting at?
Quakes. Was that a quake? Those monsters were Visbanes?
Judging from my scan results, you are a newly awakened modifier, and the consciousness embedded deep inside you by Gaia will slowly merge with your old self. Once that's done, all of this will make sense to you. The biggest threat to our world isn't any criminal organization, but what you refer to as monsters.
Then why haven't you stopped the experiment? Why are you luring them here?
You believe the experiment has caused a quake? Well, your assumption holds some facts. After all, we did forge Gaia's authentication certificate, which would have debilitated the already fragile boundary between worlds. But the source layer was eroded long ago. Sooner or later, quakes like this would hit every corner of Gaia, with or without our intervention. No Sapphira Zone or city would remain untouched. If that were to happen, hundreds, even thousands of modifiers like you won't be enough to save the world, Colonel. They won't be able to turn the tide. We don't need heroes to eliminate the Vizbanes. We need soldiers and armies.
You son of a...
Unfortunately, these are all defective products. I've failed. But the data from our previous experiment are invaluable for the next step. Should we let this opportunity slip, we'll have to waste decades of effort on rebuilding what we had. Now, I've explained everything to you, Colonel. What's your answer?
Tell me, how many more lives are you going to sacrifice?
You're a soldier, Colonel. And soldiers don't ask silly questions like this. But I can tell you this. Every second wasted here means one more sacrifice squandered.
I will have my vengeance. My brothers will have their vengeance once the threat is eliminated.
Very good. You know where to find me. But you will exit the Grey Tower and continue with your mission at present. I need another 30 minutes to finish gathering the data.
So I went back outside and continued to hold my position with my few fellows. By the time the experiment was shut down, Rostak had been reduced to rubble. I was the only one who returned in my squad.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Your father disobeyed my orders. He left the Grey Tower and went to save the wounded in the quake. He was my best friend in the squad. A good fellow. Always followed orders to the letter and supported my every decision. But for that one time, he defied me.
Are you alright, Anubis?
Thank you for telling me this.
You're both modifiers, right? I bet my ass it's so for everyone else in egregious crimes.
Korg invited me to apply 2 years after my father's death. Only 2 in my group got qualified, and the other one soon went to a different department.
So that Aether Gazer has found a way to identify unawakened modifiers. I'm not surprised, though, given she's been trying other ways since her last project.
Is that why Korg has locked down Rostak? To keep this plan secret?
To collect data, that is. The longer they run the experiment, the more quakes there are, and the more restricted areas in Rostak they need to have. The survivors from that first quake had their memories wiped, but the technology wasn't perfect. That's why we've had people who suddenly recovered their memories of the disaster. Korg needs to keep a close eye on everyone here to keep those people from spilling the beans. Aether needs someone to help her turn Rostak into a forgotten city. A price to save the world. And since someone had to do it, I thought it might as well be me.
So the restricted ground zero of the quake. The medical treatment given to those suffering from memory disorders. The ban on exploitation. And the strict controls on traffic and communications. All because of this?
Correct. I may have left Korg, but as governor of Rostak, I still became their stooge.
You're more than that. You got so many people employed and adopted so many orphans. Everything you do it for the good of Rostak.
But you're still hiding the truth from the people. They would never accept pity from the ones who've done them so much wrong.
I guess you do have a point.
I've never asked for anyone's forgiveness. What's the next stage of Aether plan, now that you've rescued me?
She wants us to evacuate Rostak.
Evacuate? But how can you evacuate so many people?
No. She told us to evacuate from Rostak. Means bringing only you with us.
Is she nuts? What about the fighting in the Grey Tower? Is she just gonna hand Rostak over to that dumb boy?
She didn't say. All she said is that the situation will resolve itself after 9 p.m. tonight.
What the hell is that supposed to mean? If you guys want to leave, then suit yourself! I'm not abandoning this place!